Hi. So what are we doing here? We're following a ritual or a regime or a habit of wanting to remember whom we are with a technique called mindful meditation, which utilizes our natural bodily processes, rhythms to facilitate our journey, our quest. And that brings us back to where we are, beginning to have a wider sense of perspective, having a sense of sensitivity and receptivity, open-mindedness, non-biased consideration, contemplation, being comfortably postured, whatever that means. Undisturbed, well, we understand that, so that you and I can focus ourselves on the matters at hand. Being alert, feeling alive, feeling one's bodily warmth. Just basics. We don't need a lot of gobbledygook. I started reading a book, which I've already read, and I was going to look at it again because it looked interesting, and you can always learn from something by repeating it, right? That's how you get a habit. And immediately I see wisdom and beautiful things, insights. And then at the same token, I see all sorts of gobbledygook. And I think of myself saying to myself, this is representative of gatekeepers, of people who have all this language of their own creation. And reading these paragraphs of information, it's like, what are you saying? I don't know anything about any of these things. And you see it across the spectrum of religions and spiritual traditions. And I beg to differ with that. And so, as much as I thought the book was going to be interesting, I put it back down again. And I'm going to look at it again, though, today, because I want to winnow out the nonsense and, share a little bit of time with this author. Feeling one's being warm. Listening to the silence in one's mind. Feeling the potential opportunity of an ambiance of what is that we usually take for granted or don't recognize. The universe around us. It's here. You're not alone. Feeling one's heat and the potential of sound, the potential in one's mind. We associate with our auditory nerves, but it's not really, because you're listening to my voice with your auditory nerves and sounds going through your ears and eardrums, etc., and into your brain through the auditory nerves. We're there, and of course everything is related, but not really. There's a difference. This is what can be, what we can become. And so we are here because we want to improve ourselves. It is an admirable and beautiful goal. We would, in essence, not only help ourselves, but Homo sapiens civilization improving. Evolution. Some would say, oh, no, look at all the things we've done. And I would say, yes. And it's ingenuity, it's innovation. Look at it for what it is. What purpose we put these things to is a different story, a different matter, and everything can be improved. Forms of government, spiritual structures, communities, education, brotherhood. Since we're all cousins, we might as well be friendly, right? Instead of fighting each other. These are some of the different objectives we share. Feeling beneath one's skin, we find a beautiful thing going on. Which of the many processes do we choose? Well, it's abundantly clear. One of the most recognizable for ourselves is the sense of one's heart squeezing oxygenated blood through one's vascular system into the capillaries to reach all of one's cells with oxygen, which is its food. And then to clean up the mess and return with carbon dioxide to be expelled in one's next exhalation. Wow, right? It's really amazing. Ventilation and perfusion in one's lungs. The bringing in of oxygen and the disseminating of the oxygen into one's vascular system, into the blood, at the alveolus, and then, as said, even to the tips of one's little toes, or to the top of one's head, the end of one's nose. Feeling all these places at the same token. When I mention them, please, to be aware, to highlight one's physicality. You're not a dot on a map, you're a Homo sapien with a body and limbs and a head and a torso. All of these things together represent whom we are as a family and individuals. Each of us is a bundle of all of these things. Miracles is another name. A bundle of miracles, each of us. Being aware of the sanctity and the majesty of one's own creation, of the millions of iterations of life that have come before each of us, represented by our DNA. It is not something to be either ignorant or to ignore. It is something to celebrate in every or as many moments as one can during one's day. Feeling one's pulse in all of these different locations we've been speaking about. Maybe one's nose, or one's cheeks, or behind one's eyes, or in one's buttocks, or in one's feet, or in one's hands. Finding in one's chest, one's throbbing, life facilitating heart. Being here, present, all of us, all our world, all our solar system. Because we're part of the solar system. The sun is shining and giving and sharing its warmth, its all kinds of energetic interactions with us. And all of our solar system together are coexisting with gravitational forces, imparting impacts upon each of us. Our moon, in particular, think of the waves of our seas, of our ocean, of our lakes, remembering the preciousness of each life. And I don't mean just humankind. I mean the little ants that one blithely steps on when one is a child, like I used to do when I was a little boy, maybe 3 or 4 years old, walking down the sidewalk. If I saw a cluster of ants, I would be after them. In ignorance. Where were my parents to tell me, to give me this kind of advice that we're sharing today? All life is precious, just as much as yours is, and mine, while we pulse away, pulsing. In the majesty of one's unique creation and one's bodily awareness easily expands to something even more reasonable to expect ourselves to witness, to participate in if we desire. The actions of our lungs acting as a bellows of pulling in oxygen-laden air from our atmosphere we're immersed in, through the exhalation where we're blowing it carbon dioxide laden away. Being aware of one's processes, one's heat emanating from one's skin, the subtle vibration of one's physicality, one's cellular system, one's 30 trillion cells, which reside in one's body, beneath one's skin, vibrating with the intensity of being alive. Don't make things that are simple difficult. Just being in the consciousness and self-realization, illumination, revelation of just what we've got inside of whom we are. We haven't even spoken about one's mind or the energy oscillating and being distributed to all of which is around us, as much as we are intaking from every direction too. I leave that to your own devices, thinking, being aware of these things. This is our meditation. Linger here through these processes and through your own thinking for another minute. Have a fantastic, aware day. Namaste.